How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? So here today with Sea of Solitude rap by Dan Bull Duggleby. Now this one was recommended to me by the illegal mobster, who's recommended a ton of videos before, so in the past. But yeah, this is going to be quite an interesting one because I was looking at this and I was looking at the title and I was like, okay, one day I'll be okay. So I already have an idea of the kind of music that I'm obviously getting into with this one. This is going to be a deeper one, based on the game Sea of Solitude, but based on the title, I'm thinking mental health potentially, maybe a mental health awareness song, which I think would be great. But again, I'm just speculating here based on a title. But mental health is something that we all need to acknowledge as well, because with the quarantine, with the lockdown, with everything going on, people's mental health has been at an all-time low. People are obviously struggling. I think everyone, in some form, not everyone, but like a ton of people in some form are struggling with the way the virus, with the way the lockdown, with the way quarantine. Obviously, it depends on where you live and whatnot, depending on your rules. But with everything that's been happening, I think a lot of people are struggling mentally. And I think just for people out there like that, my best advice is to speak to someone. Even if it's not about your mental health issues, just speak to someone. Because if you're living alone, I don't, but if you are living alone, it's best just call one of your friends, just call maybe a family member, and just talk to them. You don't have to necessarily open up about your mental state, I guess, but just talking, I think, is a good way to help. I was gonna say to get you over that hurdle, but no, it's really just a good way of just to let you know that you're not alone out there. You're not alone out there, and that's really what it matters. That's really what matters, that you know that you're not alone out there, and there are always gonna be people that are struggling, but there's also always gonna be people that care about you, and it kind of goes hand in hand as well. Now this obviously is the Sea of Solitude rap. I've not played Sea of Solitude, I think. I'm actually not sure right now, but I don't think I've played it. But based on the title, it does seem like, I'm assuming the sea is not like a literal sea with boats and ships, but I'm assuming Sea of Solitude is quite literal. Well, quite metaphor. Yeah, it's not really a metaphor, but it's quite as the name really suggests, people, a sea, a wave, a horde of solitude, of loneliness. I think that's maybe what this is all about, but we will see, ladies and gentlemen. We will see. One day I will be okay. Very much so. Very much so, very much so, very much so. Let us just hop right in and see what we have in store here today. But as I always say as well, please go check out the original one by Dan Bull out as well. Besides that, let's get started.
Asleep for 3 days, red-eyed and tired, and each waking moment's a replay. But I'll be okay, I'm gonna be okay. One day the sea will change, one day I'll feel great.
Exactly.
I'm just shaking, but I kind of feel like my whole life was taken. My mind is breaking, land is quaking back.
I've definitely seen this game before. I think maybe E3, maybe VGC. I'm not 100% sure. Just it very much looks not VGC, the VGA Video Game Awards. But I've definitely seen this game before.
But I kind of feel like my whole life was taken. My mind is breaking, land is quaking, back is aching. I want to backtrack this path and take.
Okay.
Lackadaisical lack of latent gain, favoring games in my safe space. Happy to stay in my lane, just a safe base. That's me, afraid of the shame and the pain of the unknown. I'll save changing my ways for another day. No wonder I haven't grown.
Okay.
Sailing away, never do my best. Nevertheless, I'm breaking the waves. One day I'll be okay. Just give me time and give me space. One day I'll be okay. One day I'll be okay.
Alright, so far I have to say, yeah, it's exactly what I thought it would be. Clicking on the link, well, not the link, but clicking on the video, it's exactly the thumbnail. It's exactly what I thought it would be. there's this one line, you just want to escape into a safe space. Kind of the escapism that we all seek, either through YouTube or through video games or through movies or through TV shows or through beer, whatever. It's kind of escapism from reality. That is very helpful to me. Very helpful, but also a little harmful, I guess, to some. It's a bit of both, honestly, but it just depends on what kind of... Depends how far the escapism takes you, I guess, in that regard.
Space. One day I'll be okay. One day I'll be okay. One day I'll be okay. Just give me time and give me space. One day I'll be okay. One day I'll be okay. When did I become this monster? I didn't even see. When did I become this shadow of the things I used to be?
Okay.
When did I become this shipwrecked soul? I'm still lost at sea.
Let's go.
When will I be rescued from this hole and finally find me? But I'll be okay.
There's dark shadows everywhere trying to take you down.
One day the sea will change. One day I'll feel great. When we peek beneath the surface, then we see the deeper purpose. Though my knees are weak, I'm nervous. I'm never gonna let it keep me down, cause I'm determined to weather any storm. A devil can present in many forms. Money falls and minds change, opinion can be born. A penny for your thoughts, a pound for your prayers. It isn't the cellar door that's keeping you downstairs. It isn't a metaphor, we're breathing the foul air. We've met it before, whenever people have held breath. The bits in the tongue is just
Damn. Alright. I like that a lot.
It isn't the cellar door that's keeping you
Downstairs, this isn't a metaphor, we're breathing the foul air.
Whenever people have held breath, it's in the tongue is just to be living in comfort. It'll come back to bite you right in the bum. Look, I'm not a number, another apparition. Listen, I'm not a number. I'm a prisoner wishing the vision of visitors. I'm giving up. I'm giving up. One day I'll be okay. Just give me time
And give me. Tell him.
One day I'll be okay.
Tell him.
One day I'll be okay.
Tell him.
One day I'll be okay. Just give me time and give me space. One day I'll be okay. One day I'll be okay. When did I become this monster? I didn't even see. When did I become this shadow of the things I used to be? When did I stop being human? When did I lose my being? When did I slip between the cracks to the comforting gloom unseen? But I'll be okay. I'm going to be okay. One day this
Say it louder, fam.
one day I'll feel great. I couldn't have been any better. I couldn't have done any more. I should have just written a letter and let it wash up on the shore. I couldn't have been any stronger. I couldn't have kept on my chin. Couldn't have done it any longer. I wouldn't know where to begin. I haven't been asleep for 3 days, red-eyed and tired, and each waking moment's a replay. But I'll be okay. I'm gonna be okay. One day the sea will change. One day I'll feel great.
Aye.
One day I'll be okay. Just give me time and give me space.
Narrative storytelling as well, of course.
Okay. One day I'll be okay. One day I'll be okay. Just give me time and give me space.
I like how the waves are like crashing in as well.
One day I'll be okay. When did I become this monster? I didn't even see.
In this distorted world.
The things I used to be. When did I become the winter's vestige left of a once fresh spring? When did I become a whisper of the song I used to sing? But I'll be okay. I'm going to
Be okay.
one day the sea will change. One day
I like that. This one. This one is important. Like this one is important on a different level. I actually really want to play Sea of Solitude now. I really like. I've got a massive urge to play that game right now, because of the song, but also because of obviously the visuals that it has that I've seen from this song, where mental health is like one of those things. Like straight up, let's be honest here. Mental health is one of those things that 20 years ago you couldn't have discussed with anybody. Like 20 years ago, if you discussed mental health, you know, you were seen as weak. You were seen as honestly, you were seen as pathetic. The good thing is now that we have actually learned. I can't say we've learned how to be more open, because that really depends on the individual. But we've learned to be more accepting, and I think that's very much important. That we're, of course, it's not perfect. Radical change can't be radical change is never going to be fully accepted, because, you know, quite frankly, it is radical. It directly opposes their traditions. It directly opposes the traditional view, the traditional mindset on matters. But it's good to see that, like, mental health is being taken a lot more serious nowadays. That, you know, it's been taken a lot more serious now than it ever has. And I think that's just very important, because I'm gonna go out and say this, right? As you can probably tell, I'm a very jolly person. I'm a very happy person in general. I'm the kind of person that, like, doesn't get sad. I'm the kind of person that doesn't get angry. I just am normal or happy. Like, there's no, like, beneath that. There's just, for me, it's like normal or happy. But that doesn't mean that everyone is that way. And, you know, even if you're normal or happy, obviously happiness and sadness doesn't really have much to do with your mental health. There are different aspects that could affect that. There might be nothing that affects that, but you just might be feeling down. And we've come a long way in not just identifying why our mental health is struggling, but also in learning to either talk to professionals, talk to friends or family members, or talk to people in general, you know. And I feel like it was one of those things where, like, with the anonymity of the internet, it's a lot. What's the concept? There is a study, right, that was, like, held. I watched a video on that a long time ago, I think from Kurzgesagt, on their lonely video, that, like, with the internet, the more connected we seemingly are, the more lonely we get, because we're not, as human beings, we're obviously programmed to have physical connections, to have close connections. And with the internet, while we get the connection part, we don't really get the physical part. And I'm not saying, obviously, that's just one aspect. Obviously, there are many different mental health issues. I don't want to call them issues, but I don't know what the right phrasing here. There are many mental health problems, right? From depression to loneliness to, there are obviously more severe cases as well. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, having it more normalized that you can talk to people. It's really difficult for me to talk about this, because I've struggled once in my life with, like, bad mental health issues, but, like, I'm generally a very it generally is very difficult for me to put myself in that shoe, because that one time that I experienced it was a weird situation. Let's leave it at that. It was a weird situation. It's not like something that I necessarily will ever go through again, because I had a trigger in a manner. So I don't know whether I'm, like, the best person to describe it, but I do encourage everyone that, like, feels lonely or whatnot to go out there and talk to someone. You know, there are many people out there that you can talk to, whether that's professionals, whether that's friends. I mean, there are many anonymous groups where you can go and just talk your problems. Those are great as well. I've never been, I can't say, but, like, obviously might be a little bit more difficult now with the quarantine and whatnot. But there are plenty of ways just to get things off your chest. And I know it's not obviously going to solve the problems, but at least acknowledging them is going to help move forward, in my experience. But this was a different kind of reaction. I'll be honest, this was a different kind of video, a different kind of reaction. I'd very much like to do more videos like that, because I feel like raising awareness, and again, I'm not the best person to speak about this. I know that myself, right? I know that myself. I'm not necessarily the beacon of mental health. I do have the family member. I mentioned already that I don't live alone. The family member that I live with, they work in a mental health hospital. So you know, it's always been something. Mental health has always been something that naturally I'm, like, kind of surrounded with, because my family member works helping out people with mental health issues. Again, I don't know if the right word is issues or not. I'm not really familiar what the correct terminology would be, but yeah, the way I see it, I definitely want to react to more things like this, because I feel like it's important to talk about. So we've obviously talked about controversial topics on this channel before, such as politics and whatnot. But I feel like with this one, it's not controversial, but it does need awareness, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, you know. The thing that you can make a video about anything, you can make a song about anything, you can make a reaction about anything, and I feel like as long as there is a message that is key, I definitely do want to talk about that, or I definitely do want to listen to that, or I definitely want to watch that, and that's kind of what I like personally. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I will be seeing all of you in the next one, everyone. Until then, have a nice day. Peace out, as always.